will determine that. Can you talk about annulments in the church? I got that multiple times and do all the time. Okay. An annulment is not a divorce. There's a difference, okay? An annulment is a situation where the church investigates the conditions that existed at the time the couple entered into the sacrament of matrimony. Primarily what they're doing is they're looking to see if there was a valid marriage. Now, every sacrament has two essential components that make for validity: form and matter. The ministers of the sacrament and the very form of the sacrament of matrimony is the exchange of consent. The ministers of the sacrament of matrimony are the spouses. They minister to each other. They exchange consent. Now, what usually happens when an annulment is granted, they investigate the conditions at the time of the marriage. Did these spouses exchange consent? Did they have capacity to give consent and thus enter into the covenant of matrimony? Such things as immaturity, psychological defect, duress, those things can be mitigating circumstances. Actually, they can disrupt the form through the fact that the individual doesn't have capacity. I'll give you an example. When I was 14 years old, I decided that I would play in a rock band and buy a bass guitar with $500 of my college savings. Well, I wasn't 18, and the law said I didn't have capacity to enter into a contract, thus the contract wasn't enforceable. A daughter gets pregnant, and the father holds a shotgun to the boy's head and says, "You're getting married." They get married. That's duress. Is it legally enforceable, the contract? No. Were they validly married? No. Why? Duress came into play. He was forced. He was scared. He did it because he was scared the old man had used the shotgun. Okay, is it possible to have an annulment? Yes, it is. What's the main reason? Immaturity. Immaturity today is rampant. I know people in their 30s who are so immature, I don't know if they can make an adult decision yet. Now, have too many annulments been granted at times? Maybe. I think probably in some cases that's true. But an annulment isn't a divorce. An annulment is a statement that the couple was never married in the first place. Okay, why not? There was something defective. In other words, they didn't have capacity to give consent. That's the normal thing that happens. Now, for a Catholic, a simple annulment is a defective form annulment. Joey and Susie decided to get married in the park in the gazebo by the Justice of the Peace. So they go do it. And then later, the marriage fails. Imagine that. And so then they want to get married again. Can you get married again? No. But if you weren't married in the first place, you're canonically free. Since they're Catholic, and they weren't married in the Catholic Church, according to the form of the Catholic Church, the defective form annulment can be issued. That's a defect in the form of the marriage. There was no witness, there was no priest or deacon to witness the marriage. Defective form. They were never married in the first place in the eyes of the church. So would they be free to marry? Yes. It's not a remarriage. They were never married in the first place. That's what an annulment says. Another question said, well, what about, the church issues an annulment. What does that make the kids? Bastards? No, it doesn't. The children are your children, but the church, under the power of the keys, has the right to make those kinds of administrative decisions. Could the church make a mistake? Yes. But is it still enforceable? Yes. Yes. The church says they weren't married, then they weren't. Okay? Can the church do that? Yes. Under the power of the keys. That's also Matthew 16. An annulment, you got to understand what it is. Well, it's the same as divorce and remarriage. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's very different from a divorce, okay? A divorce is a civil action in secular court. An annulment is a formal statement of the church saying that these people were never married. Thus, they are free to marry. For the second time? No, for the first time. Okay? Very important distinction.